Hi everybody, hi to the Jackson family. This is a private video for the family members of Michael Jackson. I produced a video last week with Michael, also where he used wind to communicate, where he canalized wind to communicate. I don't know if you have seen the video or not. So Michael is able to canalize wind, to raise the wind level and to use the wind for communication purpose. That's why we have this wind tool hanging over here, and he can canalize more wind through the wind tool, like he's doing it right now, to present himself. Or if he wants to answer yes, for example, then he can do that also. And the wind tool, on one side there's no golden star, and on the other side there's a golden star. So if you watch out for the wind tool, it's turning. That's the side where no golden star is placed. And if you check out the other side, you will see that there is placed a little golden star. So sometimes in the communication it can be possible that Michael is using the side with the golden star to solve specific questions, to say yes. But mostly we're gonna communicate in a way that he's gonna canalize wind. So I'm gonna wait a second, and when the wind tool is hanging loose again, then I'm gonna ask Michael the first questions. Michael, you want to say hi to your family, that's correct, right? And if that's correct, please canalize more wind to the wind tool so that the wind tool starts to get uplifted and starts to fly in the wind. And if you watch out for the wind tool closely, you can see that more wind now is reaching the wind tool, and Michael is uplifting the wind tool with the wind. Okay, so it's very important to watch out for the wind tool to understand what Michael liked to tell you. I had a conversation before we started the video. I had a conversation with Michael already. We have been in the city Bonn today in Germany. And as I said, we produced the other video last week, and he communicated to me that he wants to do a private video, so a video which is not gonna published. I'm gonna try to find an email address of Janet, and then I'm gonna send her the link with a little text. I'm gonna upload the video like that the public can see it, only in a case where I can't find the email address of Janet. So if I don't find any email address where I can send the video to them, I'm gonna upload the video. Michael, please let the wind tool hang loose again so that there's not so much wind. And you can see the wind tool was going down. Okay. Michael wants to communicate to you that he had a few good weeks. So a few weeks where he felt very good and where he had a good time. And he's canalizing a lot of wind to make that point clear right now to the wind tool, and you can see how it's getting uplifted and how it's flying in the wind. So the wind level was raised to a much higher wind level. With that, Michael Jackson is agreeing that that is true. So the message is for the family members: he had some good weeks, a good time, and there are other stuff I also want to tell you. I know from him stuff he told me. So I'll wait again, Michael, so that the wind tool is hanging loose again, so that there's not so much wind. I'm just gonna wait a moment, and I'm gonna start to smoke a joint. Sorry for that, but I love smoking weed. So there's not much wind at the wind tool at the moment. Michael, you want to communicate to your family members that you have been in America a couple of times in the last weeks. Is that true? Yes, that's true. So you're gonna canalize more wind to the wind tool now to agree to the point that he have been in the United States a couple of times in the past weeks with his family members, is what he wants me to add on. So you have been with your family members in the past weeks. Is that true? It is true, is what he's communicating by thoughts to me. So then please start to canalize more wind to make that point clear for your family members. And please watch out for the wind tool now. He's communicating to me that he wants to start again. So same thing. He wants to communicate the same point I spoke out, but something went wrong with the wind. So you want to canalize more wind now, is that true? So you're gonna start to do that. He's uplifting the wind tool now for the point what I communicated, that he has been with his family members in the States in the past weeks. And he's canalizing a lot of wind for that point. So I'm sorry, I'm communicating by thoughts with Michael separate, and I'm explaining to you what he wants me to speak out for you, and then I'm also have to watch out for the wind tool and make that point transparent and everything. So I'm sorry, sometimes in the beginning of a communication, I just started the communication today with Michael where he's using wind. We communicated before, but he wasn't using wind. So in the beginning, when he starts to communicate by canalizing, triggering wind, it's high likely possible that he needs a few moments, 10, 15 minutes, something like that, to optimize himself. And that can lead to a situation where in the beginning of the communication, it is not so specific and not so clear, and later it's getting better. Michael wants to agree to that. He's gonna canalize more wind, and he showed you the golden star into the one camera over here. This camera over here. He's canalizing more wind, and he's gonna use even a little bit more wind than that to make that point clear. And you can see he's doing that right now. So he uplifted the wind tool when I spoke it out. Okay? Michael wants me to communicate that his family members should know that he loves to be with them, that he loves to stay with the family, and that he enjoys the time when he's with them. That's correct, Michael? He's communicating by thoughts now with me, and he's telling me that's correct. He turned the wind tool around, so I don't know if you have seen that, but the golden star was presented. If you want to agree, just uplift the wind tool again, so send more wind, and you can see he's doing that. He's sending more wind and he's uplifting the wind tool. It's getting pushed against this metal structure where the wind tool is placed on. Give me a moment, I'm going to communicate with him by thoughts now, so I want to find out what else he wants to tell you, so that I know that I can ask the correct questions. He communicates to me he mainly wanted to do that video here to make that point clear that he's with you, the family members, sometimes, not always, but sometimes, often. Is what he communicates. The word often was what he communicated by thought to me. And he wanted to produce this video to make clear that he's happy when he can be with his family members, so that his family members understand that. And he's gonna uplift the wind tool again. He's canalizing now more wind into this area. And please canalize it to the wind tool, and he's doing that. So he's uplifting the wind tool, and he's pushing it again into this metal structure. You could see how uplifted it was, and he's doing that again, and now he's uplifting the wind tool higher so that you can see that. Hopefully later on the cameras you can see everything good. I sometimes realize that if you are in the live situation, if you would be me sitting here, you can hear the wind, you feel it on your skin, so you realize a lot of little points. And me and Michael also realized that when we produced the other video, we were doing the cuts together on the PC. So he was connected to my human body, he was in my human body at that time when we did the cuts for the video. And then he also realized again what I already know and what I realized a couple of times in the past years where I produced documentations, is that it's much more difficult to see that it is communication and to make the communication transparent in a video. If you watch the video, it's much more difficult to see and to realize what's going on compared to a situation where it would be presented to you live. So where you could feel the wind on your skin, where you could hear the noises the plants do start to produce if wind is getting canalized and all these factors. So the cameras do not capture all of that very good. Michael, you agree to that, right? You have the same experience, right? He's turning the wind tool a bit, so he showed the golden star in the direction to my eyes, but he wants to uplift the wind tool to make that point clear. So he's canalizing now more wind to the wind tool, and you can see that it's getting uplifted a bit. But if you want to make that point really clear, I would use more wind. So I would use a stronger wind. Especially if you want to make the point clear that the cameras do not capture it so good, it would be better to use more wind. He's agreeing to that. So that's what I can see. I'm only watching the wind tool. There was no thought in my head from him at that second. But I could see the wind tool was standing a little bit in the wind, and then it got uplifted a centimeter or so. So not very far, a centimeter. But if you are used to watch out for the wind tool, and if you get used to this kind of communication, you can realize and see even little differences. What you cannot if you are not used to that kind of communication, and if you just have watched 2-3 videos, then it will be very difficult to see the little differences. So I just asked Michael in my thoughts, is there more stuff he wants to communicate? And he's saying definitely. He wants to make the point clear that he loves his family members. And he's canalizing more wind for that point. He's uplifting the wind tool now, and he's gonna let the wind tool fly in the wind. And that's what the camera is capturing. So he's canalizing more and more wind into the whole area over here. I can see that when I watch the trees also, which are behind the cameras. And you can see that he's canalizing also more wind to the wind tool. Because he wants to make that point very clear for his family, that they know Michael is loving you the family members. And especially you want to say hi to Janet. And you could see when I spoke it out, he's uplifting the wind tool directly to say yes, to agree to that. Okay, I'm gonna enjoy the wheat for a second, and I'm gonna drink a sip of cola, and then we're gonna keep going with the communication. Normally, me and Michael, this where we are, the area where I am right now is Bonn-Ueckersdorf. So it's a village on a hill, on a little mountain, at the site of Bonn, the city of Bonn. And me and Michael, we originally wanted to go to the Rheinauer, which is a huge park in Bonn. So I traveled with him by bus to Bonn, and then I wanted to buy some wheat. And the guy I had to meet, he was in another area, so we had to travel to the other district. And then we went back, and on the way back we decided that we're going to produce the video here in Ueckersdorf instead of the Rheinau. The Rheinau is very beautiful because you have lakes there and a nice effect because of the nice environment. But I think here it's also okay. It's not so beautiful like the Rhino in Bonn. The Rhino is where me and Michael produced the other video. So the first video from last week, from the 1st of this month. Michael, do you want to do identification clearly one more time for your family members? Yes, he would like to do that. So watch out for the wind tool now. He's gonna canalize more winds to make the point clear that you have the identification clear. So it's Michael Jackson. So can you uplift the wind tool a little bit more? And he did uplift it a little bit. I would uplift it even more than that, or I would push it. I don't know, one of these things. He wants to do that one more time so that you have a clear identification. I'm just gonna give me a moment.
Hallo.
Hi.
Jetzt bin ich mal gespannt. Was machen Sie?
Ich drehe eine Doku zum Thema Vorfahren und Ahnenkommunikation. Kommunikation mit Verstorbenen, nichts anderes zu tun.
Ah, okay. Wegen der Stativeweichkeit.
Ja.
Ja, viel Erfolg.
Ja, danke.
Vielen Dank.
Ja, gleichfalls. So sorry, the man just asked what I'm doing here in German, and I explained to him that I do like ancestors communication, how I often call it, so communication with the dead. That's what I just explained to him. And these situations can be very weird. That was cool, that was alright that moment. But sometimes if I'm in front of the camera doing that and practicing that, sometimes people come and ask, oh, watch out. That can be cool and okay, but it can be also, I had some weird moments, let me say it like that, not today, but when I remember the past, because there are a lot of people on planet Earth which do not know that creatures which have lived as human beings before can present themselves by influencing the natural environment, for example, the wind. And there are a lot of people which just don't believe it. And it's not nice if you get asked to explain what you do and then they judge you wrong. That's an experience I had very often in the past. Not too often, I'm happy for that, but often. So it can be a little bit weird. So Michael, sorry. Let's go back to the point. The wind tool is hanging very loose. You could see when I spoke out, there was not much wind in the area, which is a good situation because now Michael can start to canalize more wind into this area to identify himself one more time absolutely clearly so that you have a very good identification. Because that's one of the most important things, besides the fact that he wanted to tell you that he loves you guys. So Michael is canalizing now a little bit more wind to the wind tool. That's why the wind tool was starting to shake like that. But I would say, can you, if you want to identify yourself as Michael Jackson, can you uplift the wind tool with wind? So can you push it with wind that it's getting uplifted? And for the people, watch out, he did that. You could see the wind tool was hanging loose. And he did uplift it until it was pushed into the metal structure. And he's even pushing it now one more time for you to watch out for that, okay? So with that, you have the identification that the creature I'm communicating with is communicating that Janet, it's your brother, and it's the creature is communicating he's Michael Jackson. As you maybe know if you have followed my data for a while, my videos, I'm also connected with the creature who was my mother. So who have lived as my mom before her human body died. And in between when I did the other video and today also, I did ask my mom if she can identify Michael also as Michael Jackson. And she communicated to me that it's him. So that's what I'm often doing, not always, but often when I produce documentations with creators which have to identify themselves, then I often try to get their identification, and I also try to get the opinion from other creatures, which are ghosts, how you can call it, so that they also check out the identity. Because that can be important, because sometimes there can be misunderstandings, that's the first point. But it's also sometimes possible that creators come and identify as someone else. That's already did happen in the past. But I just explained to you, I also communicated with my mom to get her opinion, and she also communicated to me that it's Michael. And Michael, we met years ago. Years ago, we produced the first video for your sister Janet. You remember that, right? And he wants to communicate, yes. That's why he's uplifting the wind tool now. He's gonna start to push it a little bit more. And if you watch closely, you can see that he's just uplifting it a little bit. Just a little bit. In the direction of the metal structure. It was just a tiny, tiny bit. So sometimes, me, Niall, from my experience with Michael, sometimes I can identify him good, sometimes not so good, and sometimes he can be in my body, be connected to my body, communicate with me without identifying himself, and then it can even be a situation where I can't recognize him. So how I do recognize Michael is by different things. The one thing is the identification, of course. But the other thing is all the creatures which do communicate with me, or these ghosts, these spirits, they have a different kind of communication, an individual communication, and an individual way how they behave when they communicate with me. So there are differences between the different ghosts. They do not all communicate the same way, the same style, same method and stuff like that. And so sometimes in the past I could identify you, Michael, very good, and he's agreeing to that. He's canalizing now more wind into this area, and he's uplifting the wind tool because he's agreeing to that. That I was in a situation in the past often that I could identify him very, very good. And today I would say I'm happy with the identification. I'm happy with the feedback I got from my mom. So which was the same identification that she said, yes, that's Michael Jackson. And I could recognize you a little bit, like from the behavior. But we were just busy traveling in the bus and stuff like that. So we were not communicating so much today in a way that we got very personal. We were communicating about the thing that I should do a video. And he was communicating with me in the bus that I should tell you guys, his family, that he loves you, that he loves to be with you when he's over in the States. And you still produce music, that's also correct, right, Michael? Yes, that's correct. So, do you want to make that point clear for your family? Maybe, I don't know if they're interested, I brought it up now. Do you want to make that point clear? Yes, you would like to do that. He would like to make that point clear. So he's gonna uplift the wind tool again by wind to agree to the fact that he's still producing music sometimes in the States, and that he still loves it to produce music, that he still enjoys being a musician. And you could see, if you watch the wind tool closely on this camera over here where I'm pointing my finger at, the wind tool was hanging like this, loose, and then he pushed it in the direction of the metal structure with the little wind. He's doing that again now. So watch out for that. You could see that the wind tool was shaking more because a little bit of wind reached the wind tool. So, as I said, Michael, for your family members, I would use a little bit more wind, that they always can see the difference very good. For me, because I'm so used to communication where creators use wind and influence the natural environment to communicate with me, it's easy to, not always, but often it's easy to recognize little changes in how the wind tool is hanging, how the wind tool is moving in the wind and stuff like that. But because I know if we watch the video later, you will be happy for all the times where you use the stronger wind, because then the cameras can capture it as well. With the little movements, the people can't see it if they watch the video. They're not getting used to it. Michael is agreeing to that. Now he's showing me the golden star, and now he's gonna uplift the wind tool with more wind. And that's for the music point as well. You can see where I spoke it out for the music point. He's pushing it now. He's canalizing now more wind to the area, and that was much better. The little movement you did before, the cameras did film it, but I'm sure your family members, they cannot outread it, they cannot see it. So if you use a little bit more wind, that's better for your family members. Have you produced anything what's in the charts at the moment? No. No is the answer. He wants to say no. So he's gonna uplift. You can see that the wind tool is hanging loose now, and he wants to say no to the question if he produced anything in the past time, like not in the past when he was alive. I mean, in the last weeks or so, he did not produce any songs which are in the charts. That was right, and it is right. And for that, please canalize some more wind. Make it more clear, that would be good. He's gonna do that, but at the moment there was no wind in the area. Now I can see that Michael is canalizing more wind in this area, even if it's not reaching the wind tool yet, because the plants did start to shake a little bit more, like the leaves of the tree in the background, for example. The one camera is filming the wind tool mainly, but with that you can see the plants in the background as well. So would you like to produce another track for the charts? Like another number one hit or something during your career as a ghost? You want to say yes. That would be fun. Okay, he communicated more stuff to me, other stuff. I'm gonna start to communicate about that, speak about that to you in a second. But let's finish the one point. You would love to do another music track, which then becomes a number one hit or a big hit globally, right? And he's agreeing to that. He's shaking the wind tool with more wind. And if you can, please uplift it a little bit. So please canalize the wind in a way that the wind tool is getting uplifted. And you could see when I requested that, he did shake the wind tool again, but he also did uplift the wind tool a little bit into this direction. Okay, oh sorry Michael, now I forgot the other stuff you wanted to tell me, or you told me. I should tell his family members that Michael likes to produce music with birds. So with animals, by traveling into the animal body and by connecting in biosymbiose to the brain of the animal, and by them influencing the animal in a way that the animal produces a special sound or music, natural music. So Michael, you want to make that point clear for your family, right? You want to, yes. So you're gonna canalize more and more wind now to the wind tool. He's gonna start to do that, and with that he's gonna communicate to you guys that it's correct that he likes to produce music with animals. See how he's agreeing to that, and with birds especially, birds and other animals. So not only birds, but birds and other animals, and he's agreeing to that again by sending another wind bird. Okay, is there anything else you would like to tell your family members? Michael wants to apologize. he wants to apologize for the fact that he did not use the wind always on a good level. So, which makes it harder for you, the family members, to realize that it's communication and to understand her. So he wants to apologize that this video was not, and the other one was not very good. We are training, that's what he's communicating at the moment. He's training to produce better video material in the future. So he will train with the wind tool a little bit, and he will try to produce videos which are more clear for the people which are watching the videos. That is what you wanted me to communicate, is that correct? He's communicating to me, yes, that's true, it's correct, and he's communicating to me that he just wanted to say that he feels sorry for sometimes the limited options you do have to communicate. Even if you have so much options by using wind and so, sometimes it's difficult, and he's apologizing for the fact that some of the videos are hard to watch, not so easy to understand, stuff like that. He's agreeing to that. Please push the wind tool a little bit more, and watch out for the wind tool. He's pushing it now a little bit more, yeah! And now he's pushing it into the metal structure with a lot of it. That's what you can see. So, Michael's asking me my thoughts again, if we can produce another video for your family members. And he's showing the golden star by turning the wind tool into the direction of my eyes. We can produce another video. And for the family members, I'm going to produce with Michael Jackson over the summer, I don't know when. But we're going to produce maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 more videos for the family members, because there's more Michael Jackson would like to share with you. And today we started very late, it's already 6 o'clock in the evening. So next time we're going to be earlier during the day, and then we're going to do a longer video. And then we can solve, or Michael then can communicate more stuff. He would like, that's what he communicates to me at the moment by thoughts. He would like to talk with you about how it is to use bodies, like that you get a better understanding of it, how it feels and how it is to be in a situation that you can use bodies, influence bodies, like the bodies of his family members. But how difficult the situation is and can be, because he don't want to do anything wrong to the people he's influencing or he's connecting with in some way. So that's something he would like to speak about with you, his family members, because that's something which is on his heart in a way, let me say it like that, because he's sometimes connected with you guys, and he's agreeing to that. You could see when I spoke about the question about the topic,